Hi guys, and better late than never, but welcome to the first impressions of the Scorpion. I managed to pick this tank up when it became available for a very brief period on the EU server. I have no idea when, it was either last month or the beginning of this month, I can't remember, but I picked it up and because of work and because of illness I didn't actually manage to get any footage up on the channel, or I didn't even manage to get to play this tank till much more recently. So yeah, it's also Halloween week, and if you watched yesterday's review, I pointed out the fact it was Halloween week, so I decided to do a horrible review for a horrible tank, the Panzer II-D. Now, this is another Halloween themed video, but it's not really about the Scorpion itself, because the Scorpion is not a horrible tank. In fact, I'm quite enjoying the Scorpion. My problem with the Scorpion is my first 8 games with the Scorpion, I had 1 win and 7 losses, and I've managed to recover since. I think I've played about 14 games in this tank now, and I've recovered back to about a 50% win rate. But yeah, I just had a horrible time starting with this tank. I mean, I was doing a lot of damage, getting a lot of kills in this tank, but the teams over the last week or so have been absolutely awful. I mean, you very rarely see green players anymore. Where are all the green players gone, guys? But the teams have been bloody awful, and the Scorpion is a tank that has absolutely no armor, so when you're in a bad team, you've got to play the absolute socks off, or play your socks off, if you're actually going to get a result out of it. And I'm just that little bit off being good enough to do that. So I've had some really good games in the Scorpion, but they've all been flaming losses. But this is my first impressions of the tank. Now, the Scorpion is it's a good tank. I like the tank, but it's very unforgiving, and I really can't recommend, even though I think it's a great tank, I couldn't recommend this for anyone who is new to the game or anyone who is inexperienced. And really, it's because it's so unforgiving. I mean, the tank is tiny. It really is a small tank, and you can see how big the ammo rack is here. The tank has no armor. It's got 1 millimeter of armor on the hull. The gun area here itself is 0 armor. The gun shield is 5 millimeters of armor. And that's because maybe it's got a coat of varnish on it. I have no idea. The tracks are spaced armor, but they're only 10 millimeters thick. And you can already see the tank is very light, very poorly armored, and just barely touching a Comet or a Cromwell that was beside me. I've already done 5 damage to myself. It's very easy to ram these things to death because they've got 0 armor. Oh, it was a Comet. So I do a lot of ramming damage, or friendly players have been doing a lot of ramming damage to me. So I mean, I'm just moving up. I'm playing as an aggressive TD now. I've seen some people say that maybe this tank... Oh, look at that! KV-1 rams the back of me and 5 damage. It's just... I've been taking so much friendly damage because of inconsiderate teammates who can't see where they're driving. The tank can't take ram damage at all. So I've already lost 10 hit points, and I've had worse games where players have done 100 ram damage to me. Especially leaving spawn. You know, they'll just run into you leaving spawn, and if they're in a fast tank with fast acceleration, they do a lot of damage to you, so you've got to be really careful around friendly players because they can accidentally kill you. Technically, an ELC could ram this thing to death. So, yeah, it's the Scorpion. It's very light, it's got no armor, but it's got a decent gun. You can see I've got almost nothing to shoot here at the Comet. You get about a 2-second aim time. Now, the gun itself is amazing. The gun is really good. You can see I'm going for a shot in the T28 or T25 AT, not much to shoot at here. It's fairly accurate, 0.32 accuracy. Oh, and there, I've got absolutely no armor, and I'm taking shots. I actually managed to block a shot with my gun, and second time round it takes out my gun. But as per usual, premium tank, American premium TD, I'm playing with no sixth sense, playing with a new crew in the tank, so no sixth sense. But talking about the gun is amazing because of the 219 millimeters of penetration. So it's got absolutely amazing penetration for a tier 7. The alpha damage is not great, 240 for a tier 7 TD, but it's good enough. The rate of fire is okay. The DPM is a little bit lacking. It only gets about 2,200 DPM, although you can boost that with equipment and crew skills. And to put it into perspective, I mean, tanks at tier 7 for the Americans like the T-25-2 and the T-25AT, they have more DPM than this tank has. So it's very, very like, I think if I were trying to compare this tank to anything else in the game, because it's very, very unusual, I think it plays most like a Hellcat, in that you have very poor armor, or no armor in this case, but you've got a very, very similar gun, but you've got much, much better penetration, so it's kind of, it's fast, you can get into position quickly, but you've got to be careful because you got no armor. I think it's probably like the Hellcat most in that regards, but it's unusual, and I love unusual tanks. It doesn't have a 360-degree turret, unfortunately. The turret only has about 60 degrees of angle on it, and as you can see, the turret traverse is not amazing. Going for blind shots here, don't know where the tank outline has gone, but I want to get some revenge on this T-21 for taking out my gun, forcing me to use a repair kit. Speaking about repair kits, you're going to be using a lot of repair kits, a lot of first aid kits in this tank, because the tank is very, very small, and it's got no armor, so you're going to take a lot of module damage, you're going to take a lot of crew damage. But as you can see, the aim time is quite good, the accuracy is very good, we're already up to 1400 damage. And we're actually winning at this stage, and but yeah, trying to get wins on this tank has been extremely, extremely difficult because you can't really play it that aggressively. I probably play this tank more aggressively than some of the Scorpions I've seen people play. I like to get up into an advanced position, but you can see that the gun is just fantastic. Love the gun, love the traverse arc. It means you can keep your hull steady while still getting your gun on target. So basically, yeah, it's unforgiving, but you can play it aggressively. You don't have to sit at the back and snipe like I've seen a lot of players do. And the camo rating is absolutely amazing. So I think it's fair to say I really, really like this tank. Now, the problem is that it's a tier 7 TD, and there are a lot of very, very good tier 7 TDs. So what does this tank have over any of the other tier 7 TDs? A lot of the other tier 7 TDs have armor, or they have more DPM. So really, this tank, its biggest strengths are its penetration of 219 millimeters of penetration, which, as I say, is amazing. It's got 10 degrees of gun depression, and I find that the camo rating on this tank is absolutely amazing. So we picked up one kill. Unfortunate not to kill the Panther that time. So I'm running out of friends, unfortunately. So we were winning, and now we're losing, because if you look at the minimap, we've got a Tiger 1 and an A43 who've spent the entire game camping in J4. And this is it. So I pick up 2 quick kills. Unfortunately, T-29 moves forward. My camo rating is crap. Get one more shot in, and then I get flanked by the Su-122-44. And of course we go on to lose this game because the A43 and the Tiger 1 sit there till the enemy players come and kill them. And you're starting to see the reason why I'm including this in a Halloween series of videos, because it's the teams, it's the wins. I can't pick up wins in this tank. Now, if I'd been a little bit more savvy, if I'd been a little bit more aware, that was my second game in the tank. I was just testing it out, and you got to see the gun in action. The gun is very, very good, but I probably could have relocated sooner. I probably could have run away to the corner of the map, but just the team collapsed so quickly, and it was another defeat. But I've been getting so many of these recently. You know, coming top on XP, top on damage, and just my team not doing enough or just not being good enough. But yeah, I probably could have done a couple of things differently there, but and 6 cents would have helped a hell of a lot. I can't wait to get 6 cents on this tank. But yeah, you can't complain when you get 3,254 damage done, 3 kills and 963 XP. So yeah, it's a solid tank. It's a solid game, or solid. It was a solid game, and you could see how good the gun was. The gun was very, very good. 20 shots fired, 17 hits, fired a couple of blind shots, fired a couple of shots at very small targets that missed, but other than that, I mean, the gun is accurate, its penetration is absolutely amazing, and even though the DPM is not the best of the Tier 7 premium TDs, it's good enough. I mean, you get the tank. Unlike the AT-15A that I reviewed quite recently, this tank does get into position quickly, it starts doing damage quickly, it starts earning credits quickly. So, yeah, I mean, when you earn 63.5k credits with a premium tank at Tier 7, it's a pretty good tank and capable of doing damage, as I say, even though the DPM is not the best. So, moving from my second game in the tank to my third game in the tank, and once again, where are all the green players? Yeah, top tier, Tier 7 game, nice matchup for this tank, and gonna be using the first replay. You got to see the gun. This time you're gonna get to see the maneuverability of the tank, and this Hellcat, very, very inconsiderate decides, yeah, I'm gonna rush in front of the TD behind me, but I thought he was going to be a pain in the ass, and then he decides to back away and give me the position because I was here first. So, strong position, good camo rating on the tank, we're on a slope, we're going to be using our gun depression, and we're going to be using our gun arc. But what's annoying me in this game is the fact that we've got an OI and a T-29 going north, and everyone else has run away. In fact, our Tiger 1 has top tier heavy, 6,000 games, and he's decided that, yeah, he's just going to abandon the north and he's going to go up with the medium tanks. Even though we've got like 5 medium tanks up there, he's going to go all the way over to E0, and I really, really hate players who do that. Really, really do. There is absolutely no reason for a top tier heavy to spend 4 minutes relocating over to where he's not needed. And really, it's kind of behavior sometimes you see from players who may have had a game, a really, really good game once upon a time in that position, and then they go to that position every single time, no matter what tank they're driving and no matter what tier they're playing. But this Black Prince, again, I have no idea what this guy was doing. He decided to flank our heavies. Might not be a bad idea because we're completely outnumbered here in the north. But you can see the gun depression here, you can see the rate of fire and the penetration, no problems going through the Black Prince. And yeah, just a friendly nudge from the Hellcat, and I've lost health already. You've got to be really, really careful in this tank. So, I have no idea. Once again, as I say, I'm playing without Sixth Sense and pretty poor crew, but the north has collapsed. I hang around for one more shot. And yeah, I don't think I was spotted there. It was either a blind shot by Artie, or Artie was trying to hit the Hellcat, but there you go. This is the problem with this tank. Splash wasn't even a direct hit, and I've lost half my health. Forgot to point out the hit points. This tank has 820 hit points, which is not good. When you put it into consideration or into context, for example, I think the T-25-2 has about 850, 840 hit points. So, yeah, it's basically the hit points aren't great for a tank that has no armor. Now, usually when tanks have no armor and they're premium tanks, or give them a hit point pool. So the TOG is a perfect example. Tank that has very poor armor, but they got a heck of a lot of hit points. Scorpion, it's a very, very small tank. It's actually got less hit points than most other Tier 7 TDs. And no armor, so you got to be very, very careful. But what you can see is we're doing 45 kilometers along here. So we've abandoned the flank. The flank collapsed. Nope, thanks to our mediums who decided to lemming E0 and our Tiger 1 who should have known better. But I've relocated, and that's one thing you can do in this tank. You can do it in an SU-122-44. You can do it in an E25. But, yeah, Scorpion, it's quite good at relocating, it's quite good at moving around the map, but what you're going to see here now is the camo rating, using bush mechanics, because I think the tank is very, very strong, but a lot of heavies coming down from the north, just waiting for opportunities to fire, and Tiger isn't going to give me any, so... The view range is 350. Forgot to talk about the view range. The view range is quite poor on the Scorpion, which is kind of a surprise. Again, it gets less view range than the other Tier 7 regular TDs, so view range was definitely a surprise. 350, not good. It's okay, but it's definitely could have been a lot better considering, as I say, this tank has no armor, and with no view range, it makes you even, or poor view range, makes you even more dependent on your team to be competent. But you can see the rate of fire, the penetration, take out an Oni with no problems. And we're just defending. But we're losing, and we're losing pretty badly, and even though we're being pushed in the north, our team are continuing to advance along the K line. Yeah, I don't know, the quality of play and the quality of teams in this game in the last month or so is just, I don't know, I just think it's been very, very poor. And if you're a very, very good player, then you can work around this, you can carry games, but personally I'm above average, I'm pretty good, but, you know, I'm not one of these players who carries games easily. I make mistakes. But I'm relocating because I figure Tiger 1 wasn't coming out. I'm going to try and kill this E25 and this T67 if I can spot them. But, let my binocs kick in, not spotting anything, and okay, bugger. Do I go back? Do I go forward? A little bit indecisive, I decide, okay, maybe it was a mistake coming up here. So I've got to go back. And yep, not much to shoot at the Tiger, but remember, 219 millimeters of penetration, blind kill. So on 3 kills, 2k damage, and I know that there's a OI somewhere around here. I don't know if it's OI or O1. I'm just going to be calling it OI, but that probably isn't correct. So once again, just using bush mechanics, trying to move up, trying to get spots. KV1 has been sitting in that position for pretty much the entire game and hasn't moved, but we're able to kill the O1, relieve some pressure, and then our KV1 starts taking fire. So someone's just taken a blind shot, so again, no sixth sense, no idea whether or not I was spotted. RT's just fired, so yes, I was obviously spotted. 2 RT on the enemy team, and RT loves shooting these things. I've already lost over half my health to an SU-8 with splash damage. But I move up to try and locate the T67 and the E25 again. And unfortunately, this is where things go really, really badly wrong, because I move in, let my binocs kick in, and I'm not spotting anything. Until the E25 appears and the T67 appears. They're both one-hit kills, but I've got no armor, and there are still 2 RT in play, and then an AC-48 appears behind me, and there goes the rest of my health. So there goes RT, my engine gets knocked out, I've got no health, my tracks are down, but this track traverse means I can kill the T67. But now I can't reverse because the AC is behind me, and now I can't go forward because the E25 is in front of me. I'm a one-hit kill, I've got no armor, he's gonna pen me no matter what I do, and there are 2 RTs, so again, really, really indecisive. RT are just constantly going for me, and it's over. I mean, I'm on 5 kills, but I'm the last tank remaining, 58 health, and RT, AC, no matter what I do, if I'm gonna get spotted, I'm being proxy spotted, I can't get away, RT's just firing. I'm hoping the E25 is gonna get greedy and come around the corner, but I can't really move that far. I'm trying to avoid RT, but once again, showed a little bit too much of my rear to the AMX AC-46, and that got me killed. And as I say, this tank has no survivability, so if you make a mistake in this tank, you're going to die. But that was a better example of the speed and maneuverability, being able to relocate when things are going badly, or being able to relocate so you can get shots on enemy tanks. And yet another defeat, one of many, many defeats in the Scorpion. So I think it's fair to say, the Scorpion, it's a pretty good tank, but it's very, very unforgiving, and you really, really need competent teammates, and I've been getting so few of those over the last month or so. You know, we came top on damage again, 2,234, 5 kills. Unfortunately, couldn't pick up any heroic medals, otherwise that would have been a much, much bigger XP game. 15 shots fired, 12 hits, 12 penetrations. Penetration on the gun is great. The maneuverability of the tank is pretty good. The ground resistance values on the Scorpion are very, very good. In fact, they're better than even the E25. So the E25 has better top speed, but believe it or not, the Scorpion actually has a better horsepower to weight ratio. It's got about a 29 horsepower to weight ratio, and it's got better ground resistance, so you can accelerate up to 40-45 kilometers an hour pretty quickly. You can use that to relocate. I would have preferred if the tank was a fraction faster, because, as I say, Tier 7 TDs, there are so many strong Tier 7 TDs, and I think this is a good tank, but again, could have had a better game in an SU-12244 or E25 or a tank with armor or the possibility of bouncing shots there. I think I probably could have, but Scorpion, it's a decent tank, it's a decent money maker, very, very unforgiving, and if you don't like playing, I'd say, maneuverable, lightly armored tanks that play in a support role, then you're probably not going to enjoy playing the Scorpion. If you sit at the back of the map and just snipe, you're not going to have great games. If you play it too aggressively, you're usually not going to have good games because the tank can't be played that aggressively. You got to rely on your camo rating, you got to rely on your gun depression. But I think it's a pretty good tank, and I like unique tanks, and the M56 Scorpion is very, very unique, and of course it's a premium tank destroyer for the Americans, and Americans needed premium tank destroyers for a long, long time. So, as I say, I'm back to training up crews, and yep, Scorpion, it's a pretty good tank. I enjoy it. I just can't get a flaming win. But anyway, so second of a series of videos that kind of have a Halloween theme. The first video was a horrible tank. This video is horrible teams and horrible win rates because, as I say, I just can't buy a flaming win in this tank. But anyhow, it doesn't mean I don't like the tank. It's just very, very unforgiving. They're my first impressions, guys. I think it's a pretty good tank. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.